Okay, good morning, everyone. It is so wonderful to be here today with you again. I miss you guys so much, and I am looking forward to our time together. So let's go ahead and start this morning with a breath. So we'll take a breath in through the nose and out through the nose, and just kind of center ourselves and be present now. Yeah, that feels wonderful. Okay, so now let's go ahead and say our affirmation for today. And I will hold it up so hopefully you can see it as I read it. And it says, my success is measured in happiness and peace within. And I really like this affirmation. I just, I can just feel the peace within and the happiness as I read it. So let's say it one more time. My success is measured in happiness and peace within. And then one more time, a third time. My success is measured in happiness and peace within. That feels really peaceful. Now, last time we met, I sang the Magic Penny song, and I thought, well, it's maybe this will be our thing that we'll do every week, because we always sang it when we sat on the carpet and we had our as we began our center time. So let's go ahead, our circle time. I'm sorry, I got the wrong word there, our circle time. So let's go ahead and start with our Magic Penny song. Love is something if you give it away, give it away, give it away. Love is something if you give it away, you'll end up having more. Just like a magic penny, hold it tight and you wouldn't have any. Lend it, spend it, you'll have so many. Roll all over the floor. Plop! Love is something if you give it away, give it away, give it away. Love is something if you give it away, you'll end up having more and more and more and more and more. I just love singing that song because it's just so, it just warms my heart to know that, if we give our love away, and we can give our love away in so many different ways. Just a simple smile is giving our love away, or opening your door for someone, or picking up your toys, or washing your hands, or saying thank you. Those are just lovely ways of showing our love and giving our love away. So I'm so glad that this morning I'm giving my love away and you're giving your love away by sharing this time together. So I have a little exercise that I kind of modified from the activities that we have on the sheet for this week, and it's I'm got a little bowl of popcorn here, and so I would like you to guess how many pieces of popcorn are in this bowl. I don't know how many there are, so there's no way I can tell you how many are in here, and your guess is as good as mine. But the purpose of that exercise is it goes with the story that we're reading today. And as you read the story, you will understand the purpose of the exercise, and then we'll talk a little bit about it towards the end of the story. So the name of our story is The Isaacs Have a Party. And it's a Jewish folklore, a Jewish story about this plain little woman. Her name was Raziella, and she lived in an ordinary little house in an unremarkable little town. And there was nothing fancy about her at all. She was not the mayor or the judge, but she was often consulted when a decision was needed to be made or a problem resolved. When people followed her advice, things turned out well. Her garden was the most abundant in town, and she made the best potato pancakes anyone could ever have. And so here she is. Here's a picture of her working in her garden. I thought you might enjoy that. Everyone in the town loved and respected her. Now, Mr. and Mrs. Isaac bought land in a big house in the edge of town, and they wanted to make a good impression with all the neighbors. So they planned a huge party. But they were only interested in being friends with important, successful people. So they told the butler to be very careful about passing out invitations. The butler first invited the mayor and the judge. Then he invited the people who lived in the biggest houses on Main Street and First Street. He gave an invitation to the old General Goober because a statue of the general stood in the city. He made sure the teacher of the year was invited, and he gave invitations to the entire hockey team because they won the state championship. Then he gave one to Hilda. Hilda owned a home furnishing superstore that was big enough to fill the entire city block. Of course, the man who owned the bank was invited, and the last invitation went to the actress who led the role for the upcoming play. The party was underway when one of the hockey players asked the butler, "Why didn't you invite Raziella? She is the most important person in town." The butler was horrified, and so he scampered off to Raziella's house to invite her. Well, Raziella was in her garden because in the mornings she would wake up and she would do her prayer, and then she would watch the sunrise, and then she would work in her garden. So that's where the butler found her, working in her garden. So he begged and pleaded with her to come to the party. And so she agreed to go with him to the party. But he was worried. He was worried, about what his employers would say when she showed up to the party, because she was not big and famous and successful as they would think. So he asked her to stay in the kitchen while he hurried into the dining room and set a place for her. Well, guess what happened? While she was standing, waiting in the kitchen with her muddy shoes and her dirty clothes and her torn apron, Mr. Isaac came in and saw her. And he asked, "What are you doing here?" And she replied, "Your butler asked me to come." And he said, "That can't be right. Look at your clothes. We're having a dinner party for important, successful people, not for dirty people in torn clothes. You can't be here. Please leave and take your muddy shoes with you." Now, Raziella calmly left, but there was a twinkle in her eye. She didn't go home. She walked to a friend's house. Then she washed, and her friends loaned her fanciest clothes, and she borrowed a shiny brooch like the one I'm wearing, and she got a pretty pin for her hair, and she went back to the party. This time she went in the front door and was greeted by the Isaacs with eager smiles. They did not recognize her, and they offered her wine and a seat at the table. And then dinner was served and everyone began to eat. And Raziella did something very strange. She picked up her spoon and she began to scoop soup into her lap. And everyone was surprised and they thought, wow, what's going on? Then she opened her purse and filled it with salad, and she picked up her fork and she put beans into her pocket. And then, Mr. Isaac asked, what is going on? He couldn't understand what she was doing. And then she said, it seems clear that you invited the clothes to the party. So I'm just making sure that the clothes enjoy your delicious dinner. The hockey player started to laugh, and because he had an idea, he knew what was going on, And then but the other guests were amazed and they wondered, wow, what will happen next? The Isaacs were astonished and, they realized their mistake. And Mr. Isaac turned to Raziel and he said, we were so worried about making a good impression. We would like to try again. Would you, Raziel, like to come to our dinner party? Mr. Isaac said with a red face. And you can just imagine his face was red with embarrassment because, what he did was just not acceptable. Raziel rose and replied with a smile, the clothes thank you for a wonderful meal. I would be happy to come to the party after I change. And that story was just so amazing because, we tend to look at people and make judgment based on their appearance without knowing who they are, and our affirmation says, my success is measured in happiness and peace within. So our outward appearance does not guarantee that we have peace within. And so coming back to our bowl of popcorn, we can look at it from the outside and we can guess how many pieces are here, but we really don't know for sure what's within the count of it. So that was the purpose of our exercise, is we always have to know what's within, or we should always know what's within before we make judgment. So from the lesson, the takeaway is that success is what's in someone's heart. And we can't know that by just looking at them. And the same way we look at trees and we look at flowers and we accept them without worry or fear that they may harm us or they may not be good enough. It's the same way we can look at people and we can accept them with love, knowing that we are all a part of God's kingdom. We're all children of God. And so, with that said, I would like to invite you, and I'll invite myself too, that the next time I see someone, I will take a breath and I will I'm going to affirm this. I will see them through the eyes of God and not from their physical appearance. Thank you so much for this time that we had together. And so in closing, I would like us to put our hands on our heart or hold hands if you're with someone else. Or, as we do, sometimes when we're doing our quiet time, I see some of you doing your yoga poses. So whatever feels comfortable for you at this time. We will say the prayer for protection in closing. And so let's take another breath in through the nose and out through the nose. And let's begin now. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us, and the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Thank you so much, and I hope you all have a wonderful 4th of July and a blessed summer. Bye now. Mwah.